Welcome to tonight's webinar. My name is Scott Klein, and I'm the Programs Coordinator for CAN-DO Multiple Sclerosis. Thank you for acting on the belief that you are more than your MS by attending tonight's webinar, Prioritizing Your Time and Activities by Ann Mullenix. I wanted to start tonight's presentation by talking a little bit about CAN-DO MS. CAN-DO MS is an innovative provider of lifestyle empowerment programs for people with MS and their support partners. We are at the start of a whole new way of thinking about and living with MS. CAN-DO MS empowers people to move beyond their MS by giving them the knowledge, skills, tools, and confidence to adopt healthy lifestyle behaviors, actively co-manage their disease, and live their best lives. CAN-DO MS launched our new website last summer, www.mscando.org. Please visit the website where you can register for upcoming webinars, listen to the archived webinars, check out our upcoming CAN-DO MS Lifestyle Empowerment programs, share your CAN-DO promise, and learn ways you can contribute to or get involved with CAN-DO MS. So we have a few housekeeping items tonight before we get started. First, Ann will address questions and comments at the end of the presentation. However, we do encourage you to ask questions and add your comments throughout the presentation. To do so, just type your question in the chat feature located on the left side of your computer screen. You should see a box on the left side of your computer screen that says chat. To submit a question, type in the small box that says chat with presenters. This presentation is being recorded and will be archived on CAN-DO MS's website. You're more than welcome to view the presentation again, and if you've missed one of our other webinars, you can find the archived version on the website. For those of you who are attending live tonight, you will receive an email tomorrow with copies of this PowerPoint presentation. As many of you have discovered when you logged into the webinar, new in 2011, you can listen to the live webinar through your computer speakers rather than having to call in. So the job of the live participants tonight is to 1, submit your questions and comments into the chat box, 2, complete the evaluation at the end of the webinar, and 3, review webinar schedule and register for upcoming webinars. So we have a great speaker lined up tonight. Her name is Ann Mullenix. She's an occupational therapist from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and has been on the CAN-DO MS staff for 17 years, becoming involved when she worked with Dr. Randy Shapiro at the MS clinic at Riverside Medical Center. Ann has 20 years of experience working in neurological rehabilitation and is currently working with adult outpatients at Park Nicollet Methodist Hospital in Minneapolis. So before we start tonight's presentation, let's do a quick survey here. And we're just going to get a feel for who's on the call with us. So I just put up a survey on the screen, and please tell us about yourself. Are you a person living with MS? Are you a support partner, a healthcare professional, or other? So go ahead and answer that question, and we'll find the results here. Give it just a moment or two. All right. So it looks like about 97% of us are person living with MS. There's about almost 3% as support partners, no healthcare professionals tonight, and about 3% of others. So without further ado, let's introduce Ann Mullenix. And here you go, Ann.
Thanks, Scott. And thank you all for making this webinar a priority for yourself tonight. By being here, it really speaks of your motivation and of your interest in taking care of yourself. We all know what the word priority means, yet in our daily life, are we really doing the activities that are most important to us? Activities that give us the most satisfaction, fulfillment, and add to our quality of life. You don't need to tell me that your daily life can be overwhelming, unpredictable, and consumed by managing your MS. Unconsciously, what happens are the activities that are really important to us are deleted from our lives because managing MS becomes a priority and it consumes all of our time. And don't get me wrong, it is so important to have your health as a priority, but it is as much important to have other interests and activities in your life because then we better manage our health overall. So that's why this subject has come up tonight, because we have found over the years working with people with any chronic illness, for that sake, for anyone, right? It's really easy to let the little things in life take over and we push out the things that give us meaning and happiness. So my goal in the next 45 minutes with you is to plant seeds of positive change. Having you leave this webinar feeling, number one, that you're clear on what your top 1 to 2 priorities are. And these may be activities that you may already be doing, but you're not doing them as much as you would like. They may be new activities that you haven't done before but you want to do. Or they may be activities that you've kind of pushed out of your life that you're feeling, you know, I want to start doing it again. And the other thing I want you to leave this webinar is to be clear on the strategies or steps to take to start fitting these priorities back into your life. And to achieve this, really, you know what you need. It's what I need. It's what everyone needs. The bottom line is motivation, confidence, and being connected to others. So let's get into priorities, the slide before you. When you hear the word, what comes to mind? A priority is something that we feel is very important to us, something we value stronger than other activities. For example, it can be as basic as keeping your daily routine, or another level, it may mean going to the health club 3 times a week, spending more time with family and friends, or even playing an instrument. Accomplishing our priorities sometimes means foregoing other activities. What are your priorities? What motivates you? What gives you substance in life to create more joy, contentment, and energy? Some priorities we might all think of are in front of you, like family, work, friends, fitness, your faith, money, health, leisure. There are a lot. But if you could think for this purpose of the seminar, of the webinar, got to get used to that word, think of your top 2, rank them. Have in mind your top 2 priorities that you want to be engaged in. And then also think about how it aligns with your partner or your family. Can you do them together? Or do you find some of your priorities are activities you want to have some space and be alone? And where is that time in your day? Speaking of time, we need to look at how do you spend your time. It is important to get a grasp of that in order to figure out how you're going to get these priorities in. So overall, do you feel you're spending most of your time and the energy on what is important to you? Is there something that you want to change, want to begin? When you think of your daily life in general terms, overall, are you spending most of your time and energy on what is important to you? Because the bottom line for most of us is getting that time. And if you can take a step back and analyze this daily life, do you see patterns? And what I mean by that is in a typical day, and I know every day is a little different, but can you get an idea of what is really taking over your time and preventing you from your priorities? How about barriers? Are there any barriers to your success? Is it hard to get to the workout, the health club, because you can't drive? Are there barriers that you have a fear of starting and re-engaging in some activities? Some activities that are prone to leave our lives first are the activities that are the most fun, and these are recreational activities. Last month there was a webinar that had to do with leisure interests, adapting leisure interests. So I do encourage you, if you didn't hear that one, to look back at some point in time and archive that and listen to it. Because these are the activities that, as I said, are the first to go, but they are so important. They play a critical role in our overall health, happiness, and empowerment. Being able to pinpoint some barriers in your life also allows you to work on the right solutions. Balance is so important, and what is really important is staying connected. It is not uncommon when I work with people with MS to find that their lives become more and more isolated because, again, it's the consumption of managing the MS, and it's just easier to stay home. So I'm hoping to change that mindset if that is you tonight. So I would like to engage in a poll here because I am curious. For those who see this, I want to know how many of you in the audience feel you're devoting to your priorities. So fill that out so we can gauge one another's where we all are at. Okay, and it's obviously probably why you are here listening, right? But so far, we're getting some pretty good results. They're still coming in, so I'm going to pause here for a minute. But right now, the majority of you, 75, and it keeps kind of going up a little bit here, say that some of the time you're devoting to your priorities some of the time but wanting more. Makes sense, right? There's a 5% that say that they are not engaging at all in their priorities. And the 18% are saying most of the time, I feel balanced. Hats off to you. That's great. So in addition to writing out your questions and submitting them to Scott, I love to hear what people are doing and some strategies that you're using that help you engage in your priorities. Obviously, we don't have a lot of time to discuss with that, but that is really fun. And that's the only hindrance with a webinar is that I can't interact with you all, but the audience is the best teachers, that's for sure. So the first step to fit your priorities into your days is to better understand how you spend your time. And I love this pie diagram, and as you see, there are handouts for you, and I should have brought that up earlier, so I apologize. But we had 2 handouts that you could download and print to work on, which we will be getting to later in the talk. But a pie diagram is something that, you know, we think we all know how we spend our time, but when we take a moment to analyze it and like use this pie diagram, we see it more clearly and we become aware of where we are using our energy. So when you look at this pie diagram, the circle or the pie hole represents a 24-hour period. And then the slices are, the sizes of the slices are in proportion to the amount of time spent on an activity. So when you look at the one before you, you see readily that this pie diagram, most of time is spent sleeping and working, and the least amount of time is spent on leisure activities and exercise. So comes to our next poll question. I'm also curious to see what prevents you from doing your priorities. I already know that the majority of you are doing some of your priorities, and you're feeling like you want more, but you are getting them in. But why aren't you doing them as much as you would like? So fill out this survey and let's see what you come up with. Aha. You know, I bet you all can answer this. People are responding to each one of the questions. 14, 18, about 20% said there's not enough time. 2% say that they don't have access to community resources. 32% are saying that they feel physically or cognitively limited. And the majority, what do you think? It's that fatigue, that great grandiose fatigue. We will be talking about all of these symptoms and how they're getting in the way and strategies to try to remove them, to squash them down, and fill your life more with those fun things. So thanks for responding to that. That's helpful for me as we proceed with the talk. Balance is the key to life. Balance is, and prayer, oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the slide and I skipped ahead, and that is my fault because I am a little technologically impaired. Sorry about that, audience. This is where I want to be. So back to balance. Balance and priority really are key words when living with MS, and I think they're key words for any of us, right? Balance is a key living with a chronic illness for you and your loved ones. A lack of balance is a major source of stress. Our lifestyle choices need to support your priorities in a balanced state of being. For instance, if vegging out in front of the TV is your primary form of relaxation, you may need to think of making some changes when a priority of yours is to get exercise back in your life. You see what I mean? They're 2 very different choices. So you may need to tweak them a little bit. But we do know activities that are engaging, creates a lot of energy and improves our quality of life. And you want to keep life in focus. And this is a big thing you may have heard us talk at the Can Do Center, is you want to focus on what you can control and let go of what you can't. Focus on what you can. So back to the slide that I accidentally got to earlier is balance is a key word. We need to look at balance in our lifestyle choices, and balance is ever changing. Finding balance is an active, constantly changing process, and our needs and interests change. This is normal. But it's an active awareness that we always need to be juggling, right? So I want to pause here for a second and just recap the beginning of this talk. Number one, it's important to engage in our priorities for greater life satisfaction, enjoyment, self-esteem, energy, and health. Managing MS is hard and can easily take over our daily lives, and sometimes not even being aware of it, we just kind of accept this. And we just accept this is how life is going to be. So we disengage from these activities that we enjoy because, you know, this is it. I hope that we can change that frame of mind and that you don't give up. You should have a feeling right now of your top 1, 2, maybe 3 priorities. We have a lot, but in order to really start re-engaging, you got to focus on just 1 or 2 to make it realistic to get them back into your life. Write those down if you can on a piece of paper around you or keep them in your mind. Probably don't have to write them down. They're probably very clear. So how do you find balance in managing your MS and fitting in your priorities? Now we're going to move into strategies. We're going to talk about 3 different strategies that can help you re-engage and get into those activities that are your priorities. One last poll question. I'm curious, what are the strategies that you are using? And I know this is limited. I know you have so many more strategies, and I wish I could put them up here and know that. But take a minute to fill out this poll, one last poll if you wouldn't mind, so I can get a feel for what you are doing for managing your daily life. And the results that are coming in are showing number 1 is time management. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. But again, I think you are the teachers of that. Very important principle. So that's fabulous. Adapting activities, about 26%. That is a big component of an occupational therapist's role, and that's what I do, is we help people show, okay, you want to be able to dress, but you have difficulty with your balance, you have difficulty with coordination and lack of strength. Well, here's how you can adapt dressing, and here's how you can still be able to dress using these tools or going about it differently. So the concept I want you to think about is you can still get to point B from point A, but the route may be a little different. Being connected to resources, about 8% are saying that they use that as a strategy. Obviously, if you're here right now, you are connected to the MS Center, the Can Do Center. You're using your resources well. So we'll be speaking of that a little bit as well. And then about 10% saying none of the above. So that 10%, I hope you'll walk away with having a few strategies by the time this is over. Let's begin by talking about time management. The goal is to spend most of our time and energy on what is important to us. Okay? Now, over the years, working with people, I have found one of the most successful tools is something that's so basic, and it's called a daily planner. And what's great now is that there's so many different daily planner tools available to us. Some of us are more computer-oriented, electronic-oriented, great planners on that. I still love the good old-fashioned daily planner that has the hours down the day. And why I like this so much is it's kind of like that pie diagram. You have it in front of you. You think you know where you're spending your time, then you write it out in that pie format, and then they're like, whoa, do I spend a lot of time sleeping? So a daily planner is kind of the same way, but it gives you more. You jot down those activities that you're doing, and it increases your awareness of, wow, do I really need to be doing all these activities? These activities are really sucking my energy. What can I eliminate? What can I give someone else to do? What can wait for tomorrow? And it also gives you the ability to schedule in. I am making a goal of going to the health club 3 days a week. My most energy, the best time I can do it is 10 a.m. for those who don't work. And so you put it in your calendar, and people are more likely to succeed and follow through when it is written down in that calendar. The other thing about a daily planner, at the end of the day, you kind of look at your schedule and say, what worked, what didn't work. So it's a simple tool, but it really helps with time management. And some other thoughts to remember: performing fewer things well is more satisfying than performing many things not so well. Don't expect to do something every day for each of your goals. Have a day off and enjoy the leisure time, right? That leisure time that you can get back into your life. And it takes 30 days to about 3 months to make changes. So if you're trying to get a new routine down, give yourself some time and be patient and don't give up. And I just use the word change. And you know, I just want to make a point of saying, when I use that word, a lot of times people are resistant. They're resistant because when they hear the word change, it means loss, which is not true. We all are constantly changing and making changes in our lives. And I encourage you to have the frame of mind that change means greater independence. You're making changes to allow you to do different and more things. And so you just threw everything together. Matthews, apostasy is something you have to organize. I have a little laugh machine I almost tempted to use, but I didn't think that was very professional. So what this cartoon is portraying here is it does pay off to have organizational skills. For some of us whose organization is not our strong suit, be open to assistance. You know, use family and friends who can help you maybe keep track of time, to help you reorganize your living space. Decreasing physical clutter, it decreases mind clutter, that's for sure. Or having someone help you organize your time can motivate you to do things and follow through. Managing your time. We need to prioritize our time by planning. And we've talked about this. Planning is really important. It helps you analyze, is it really necessary to do? Can you delegate? And keep it simple. Okay, another point I want to make here is simplify. I do find a lot of people do it, and I'm really impressed by it. I think it's kind of that trial and error thing. Error is what I meant to just say, but it came out funny. Because, you know, we live in a society that measures our worth by what we get done. And it's called being productivity seeking. We love to be busy, and we love the word multitasking. And, you know, if we get caught up in this, it's kind of like this performance-fixed mindset. It really does not improve our quality of life. It actually has the opposite effect. And I think this is taking root. I'm seeing more and more information out there that multitasking, it doesn't get into our brains and it does not stick. So it is overrated. Simplify and remind yourself of your priorities. Don't feel you have to justify them. Did I just miss something there? I did, didn't I? I'm going back because there was an important point here of conserving energy. And this is very important because according to that poll, most of you say that fatigue is stopping you from engaging in your priorities. Okay, let me tell you what I have led groups, workshops, you name it, on fatigue for the 22 plus years I've been working as an occupational therapist, and it just doesn't seem to get conquered. But that really is because our lives are constantly changing and our energy demands change. Remember the slide, balance, it's an act of awareness. And that's what fatigue management, or I like to call energy management, is. It's something that we need to constantly be aware of and find a balancing act for. But this is also a truth that I think people underestimate the power of simple, small changes in their daily life that can produce greater energy. And time management is one of them. We have done I've done a fatigue management webinar, and I know there's been a few others as well. So if this is an area that you want to focus more into, again, you can go to the Can Do website and access those talks at any time of, at your convenience. to look more into fatigue management because it is real, and it's challenging. It really, really is. Making accommodations and adaptations. We can simplify our daily lives like time management principles, as we were just talking about. But now I want to talk about strategies that simplify tasks in different ways. Number one, it's called using tools or adaptive equipment to manage cognitive or physical needs. It's using local community resources. And it's also energy management strategies that we can get into more if we have some time down the line. So my next little fun little cartoon, how to stop a runaway stage. Method 1, A, B, C, D, E, N, F, or method 2, A. Boom. Yeah, wouldn't that be great? If all of life could be that simple. But, without a gun. I'm not saying that we need guns, right? No. But I just, we do need little challenges in our life, right? A little bit of stress is good because stress motivates us. We need that motivation to make things happen. Yet, you need to keep the stress in check. Adaptive equipment. For those of you who have not been exposed to what is out there, I recommend you just to put adaptive equipment or adaptive tools in Google, and a wealth of resources will come up, and pictures and all that good stuff. And it would be great to have some pictures during this webinar. We just don't have enough time for it. But you can do it online. If you have a rehabilitation hospital nearby, you can give them a call and ask for rehab. These are professionals that deal with this. Have it on hand. You can talk a little bit more to a rehab professional, or you can go to any medical supply store. Adaptive equipment increase independence in your ability to perform an activity. They make your everyday activities more efficient. You save energy. You do activities in a shorter amount of time. Look at that. It gives you more time to do your priorities. And another key word here, key thought, is that it decreases your dependence on support partners. That's a whole other subject here, but, the more you can do for yourself, it frees everyone up, and you feel empowered, and your support or loved ones feel empowered by it as well. So for instance, homemaking, there are ergonomic tools for cooking, build up handles, use electrical appliances, get prepared chopped food, simplify your cooking. But if there is a will, there's a way. Truthfully, there is almost a tool out there for anything. Another concept, don't carry items. It challenges your balance, it zaps your energy. Use a cart with wheels to transport items. There's great type of luggage, on wheels that I'm noticing more and more people are using as briefcases. Using a high stool to sit on at a workspace instead of standing saves energy, protects your balance, and even there's so many great stools with wheels that you can just kind of slide around in your kitchen or your workspace to help you be more efficient getting the job done. Mobility. A cane or walker improves balance. An electric cart at the store saves your energy. This is hard because you have to be ready for it. Some people are kind of fight off using that mobility device. But man, when you want to go to that theater, going out becomes more of a pleasure versus a trial. Because you have that ease of not wondering where your balance is going to take you or if your energy is just going to zap you. So think about a mobility device. A wheelchair, of course, for the longer community type of places that you go, a wheelchair may be a little easier for you to get around, and it's going to be, a lot safer too. Adapting interests. I want to reiterate that we don't want to eliminate activities from our lives, unless you feel it's really unworthy and you don't want to do it, of course, but you just change the process. Use creativity. Being open to new possibilities will allow you to re-engage. For instance, these are just some examples, but gardening. Why don't you switch, if it's something that's a passion, go to raised beds or container gardens. Sure, it may not be the big abundance backyard that you're used to, but it still allows you to pursue your interests. Joining a book group. Earlier I said it's so important to stay connected with others. And it's just stimulating. Joining a book group, but if reading is hard, do books on tape. Again, there's a wealth of equipment for low vision. Walking or any type of exercise can be hard when you have that heat intolerance. Many different cooling devices can be used to keep that temperature down, to stretch your energy, allowing you to do the activity you enjoy. Or cooking. You want to have a dinner party. Simplify it. Maybe you can get creative and just say, oh, the friends will be a part of the meal. So again, expand your mind, open it up if you can, as much as you can, and it's only small changes. I'm not saying you to make a huge grandiose change in how you go about everything in your life, but if it's something that's real important, see if you can just tweak it a little bit, tweaking it to help you re-engage in what is important. Adapting and accommodating. So do your research. Set yourself up to succeed. Many recreational activities have modified equipment, modified trails, modified approaches to allow you to stay active. And I think we all know that there's more accessibility in the community, yet it's not always as good as it should be, right? But it's important to take and make the unknown more knowable. Knowledge trumps irrational fears. Talk to others who have participated in experiences that you want to engage in. Ask a friend with similar experience to show you some basic skills. Before you commit to a class, call the teacher. Get more information about that class. Find out what will be expected, the layout of the land, and what the class atmosphere is like. Right? Common sense, but sometimes isn't it? We just have to have that right moment to hear some of the words and have that aha, that's where I'm at, that's what I need to do. Because ultimately, overall, I don't have that pill or that, magic bullet or whatever that saying is to give you, because it is pretty straightforward and simplistic, yet easier said than done. That's why I'm saying keeping your expectations small of your priorities, and don't try to do too much at once, small steps. And it's so important to keep yourself connected to resources. As you know, the National MS Society, local chapters, the Can Do Society or Can Do website. I'm getting a little tongue-tied here. These are great websites and access right out of your home. Anything and everything in relation to MS you can find on those websites. Think of the services in your community. Can you get your groceries delivered? Saves you a trip, and it saves you a lot of energy, and it opens up an hour in your day, right, to do something else. So think about what are some services. I just worked with an individual where I called a local college. And I went to the medical field of that college, and they happen to have therapy in that college. But there are students that need volunteer hours that want to be working with people to help them with their studies. So there's many different routes we can take to have people assist us to let go of those activities that aren't as important to us. And of course, any type of religious-based organization, schools, volunteer programs are within those settings as well, if you want to look into that to help you with some of these activities. Before we get to our final little project that I want to do with you, I want to bring up the subject of barriers, because they are real and they're in everyone's life, no matter who you are. So you want to go to the health club, you're afraid to take that step to get there. Or, I can't drive. How do I get to the health club if I don't drive? Or fatigue is so daunting, I can't even begin to think how just getting there is going to exhaust me. So barriers are real. They're something that obstruct, prevent, or hinder progress. Barriers can be internal and external. So I just named some examples, but internal barriers are your attitude, your values, your priorities, your fears. And external barriers are an environment, influence of others, time. Those are just some examples. It's important to know, identify if you have barriers in your life, which we all do, like I said. But if you can pinpoint them, then it's going to be easy for you to create a solution for them. So some questions to help you with this. is it is important do I have a positive mindset. Remember that confidence piece I was talking about? It can change everything. Do I have flexible mental and physical schedule so I can work at my own pace? It's important to be able to let go of an activity. If it's not going the way you want to, stop. Don't worry about the outcome. Because have a mindset that you are not attached to the result. You are doing it for the experience. But don't give up. It didn't go well today. Okay, I'm going to try it. Well, not tomorrow. I'm going to do it the next day. Just move on, let go, and move forward. Because we are going to have those failures. It happens to all of us. Mark Twain said, "Do the thing you fear the most, and the death of fear is certain." Fear is a biggie. So if fear is in your way, is the obstacle for you to be pursuing, make sure you talk to someone about it. Talking out loud can help you realize, wow, that is kind of irrational. Or if fears are real, write down why, and then that will better help you understand steps to take to eliminate them. Okay. External barriers going on with this part of the talk. How do your goals influence your family? Will they be supportive? We have to put that in consideration. Do you have access to the resources? And the majority of you say that you do. So that's pretty fantastic. It's not easy for all. Do you need assistance to participate? And if so, that's something that can be fixed. And there are solutions for that. And looking at the accessibility in your environment. All right. So I moved this along a little bit because we have come to this slide that is actually a worksheet. Some of you may just want to look at it and kind of create something in your head. Others may want to actually have this printed out and fill it out if you feel it's an easy thing for you to do. I referred to this pie diagram earlier in our talk tonight, saying that it gives us a better understanding of how we spend our time. We've talked about what our priorities are. We've talked about obstacles to getting our priorities in our daily life. And then we talked about some solutions or strategies to help fit them into our life. So when you look at this, let's fill it out. And of course, we don't have a ton of time, and this is kind of crazy because I can't see you. I don't know what you're doing. But think of that circle as a 24-hour period. And I know every day is a little different, but do it in general terms. And why don't you start filling in the activities that you do in your day? Sleep obviously could be a big one that you could start with. And if you sleep 12 hours a day, it would be half of your pie. Self-cares are another good area to fill in, as you see on the list. So again, create pieces of the pie in proportion to the amount of time spent on those activities. Now, I do see a message that someone says, I can't find the handouts. So if we, by chance, didn't get those up, I'll make sure that when you get this webinar, they will be attached to that so you're able to print this out. So you can do this at a later time. So I apologize if you're not able to print it out. I do want to make reference to, on this slide, you'll see at the bottom, caregiver. And we have that there because we do this activity with support partners or loved ones. And that's not an area, obviously, that you would fill into your pie, but that is something that your loved one would fill in to say, how much time do you think you're spending in your day taking care of your special person? Now, you can, in your pie, make room for how much time in your day do you think you are attending to MS, doctor's appointment, organizing medication, giving yourself medication, using a catheter. How much time? I'm sure that could be a piece that is quite significant in your pie, in your daily life. So again, maybe when you fill this out, we don't have a lot of time to take right now. I'm hoping that you'll have this awareness, wow, I don't have time at all for exercise. I'm not making any time for leisure. So with that in mind, you go to the next one. And this slide really should say, how do you want to spend your time? So you look at how your days are looking now, and you'll think, maybe I can cut down on my household chores because I think I could get someone to do some of these for me. Or I have teenagers, they can do more. I'm going to start making a list of chores to delegate to my family. Or I live alone and I'm already inundated with work and trying to keep up with my house. I can't fit in anything else. Well, can you go back to those volunteer programs? Anyone in your community, calling the local college to see if there are volunteers that can help once or twice a week. So again, looking at making some tweaks in your daily life, where can you fit your priorities in? This second slide, or the slide I have in front of you, would be a great place in that upper left-hand corner to write in big, bold letters what you want to be doing. What are your 1 to 2 priorities? And then you see also in the middle, tools to get there. This is where you write, what are you going to do to make it happen? I'm going to start better managing my time. I am going to look more into some adaptive devices so I can get back to doing some crocheting and getting back into the quilting club. This is where you write down a few ideas, and it's just to trigger your mind to keep it going. If you feel, too, that this is overwhelming and this is at a loss, talk to your doctor at the next appointment you have, because he can refer you to a rehabilitation specialist. Go to an occupational therapist, a speech pathologist, physical therapist. And you may be saying, well, I don't know what I need. Well, your doctor will. And so your doctor can help process that for you, because these are professionals that can help you with all of this and show you so much more. If you haven't had any outpatient therapy, it's a great, great service to have. Okay, the other thing I want to make a point of these last 2 slides, or creating the pie diagram, is it's a good communication tool. You should have your loved one or someone that's close to you in your life do the same thing. You each do your own pie and then discuss. It'd be interesting to see what the other person has done. And it stimulates a lot of great conversation. And trying to get that time together, you can look at your pies and just say, okay, let's cut out some more of this activity. Let's get this activity in. So I hope this is making sense. I think when you really do it, it is simplistic, but I do it for many different reasons for people. And I always, anytime I have done this exercise, someone walks away gaining something. Okay, so we are about concluding here. So we allow some time for questions. And I just want to end by saying thank you for listening. You're a very gracious audience. But understand your motivation. Really look at what is really important to you and why do you want to do it. That can help get that thing going and direct you in the right path. Your values and priorities change. Are you keeping up with change? Are you willing to change? Are you dynamic? Remember that awareness. Constantly changing, that's normal. And being flexible with yourself. Laugh. I wish we had that in there. Being willing to laugh at some situations, laugh at yourself, laugh at others, make light of things, it does help. Use your support systems. I find when I work with people, they hate asking more because they feel like people are doing so much for them. People like to help. And people also like to help when they know exactly what to do. So if there is something specific that a friend or a family member can do for you, and you tell them, it's like a weight off their shoulders. They'll be like, oh my gosh, I can really do something, and I'm doing something I want to be doing. So remember that. Now if you find that you're telling people to do a lot, especially that people in your household, then that's where you may want to take a step back and think, maybe what can I do more for myself? But again, use your support systems. We are made to be connected to others. Communication is key. And if you find that you do have a lot of barriers, I whipped through that, but if you do, again, talk to your doctor, and therapy can help kind of break down these barriers and find some solutions. Don't forget to reward yourself, whatever that may be, little things to make you feel really good. You can do. Living with MS is about finding solutions. Use your creativity to remove obstacles. Let go of those things that no longer serve you. Accept those that will make life easier. You are in control. You're in control. Stay there. So the quality of your life depends on it. Thank you so much. Scott, back to you.
Thanks so much, Ann. That was incredible. What a great presentation. So we do have a couple of really good questions. So I will try to address all of them as best I can here. So the first one, how do you juggle the need for exercise with an adaptive walking device?
Okay, how do I juggle the need for exercise with an adaptive walking device? So meaning, are you using this device because walking is your primary means of exercise?
I would guess that to be the case.
Okay. You know, exercise is so important. You know, our center is based on it. And if you haven't had a physical therapy evaluation, that is what I'm going to first advise you to do. Because simple changes in maybe how you use your walking devices to make it easier for you, or that physical therapist may say, you know, for you to get re-engaged in exercise to strengthen your legs, why don't you do, for instance, let's start you off with a stationary bike, build up that strength, then you get back to your assisted device to walk stronger and better. Now, if you are also applying, like using a walker that you need a walker to walk with, but you're also wanting to use your walking as exercise. There's different types of walkers also that are more durable for the exercise of walking. And again, I want to refer you to your doctor, maybe talk to an outpatient physical therapist to see what some different options are to make it easier, safer, and enhance your ability to walk and exercise.
Excellent. Thank you. And a comment coming from another person that kind of relates. This person says, I've recently used walking poles to walk for the sake of walking. They now allow me to walk amazingly, quote unquote, normal. So that might be some good advice there too.
Yes, great advice. Yeah. We love those walking sticks.
They're awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And another great question, which tools assist cognitive limitations?
Oh, yeah, that's a really good question. And you know what? That truthfully is a whole other conversation, a whole other webinar. In this talk, time management would be addressing, and thank you for bringing that up because I did not even bring that word up during our talk. But time management, using a daily planner, keeping things written down, keeping them in time components is a compensatory strategy to help you remember, to help you follow through, to help you organize. If it's hard to stay on track of time while you're doing an activity, another suggestion is using a timer. Put that timer for the amount of time that you need to be doing an activity, and when that goes off, you just know, okay, I need to stop and shift to the next activity. So there's many different cognitive compensatory strategies. Working with people with MS, the majority of challenges that people have are short-term memory. And with that, it's all about how you conserve your energy can play into that. There are great resources, and I can recommend a book to you, Facing the Cognitive Challenges of Multiple Sclerosis. And that's by Jeffrey, G-I-N-G-O-L-D, Gingold. That's a great book, too, that helps you piece together if you have some cognitive challenges, how can you compensate for that and still engage in the way that you want to? I think because of time, I'm going to leave it at that. A great question. And I know on our website we've had more specific webinars on the subject.
Great. Thanks, Ann. All right, and a few more comments that were made that I really think are valuable here. This one person says, I've made a calendar with priorities so that each day of the week I know what I'm doing and getting 1 or 2 things done that are priorities to me. So I thought that was pretty valid. Yeah.
Exactly.
Another person says, we turned our cable TV off, which saves money and creates more time to engage in more important activities. And I love that one.
Isn't that the truth?
Isn't that great?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and let's see. One really good question actually is, what about the consideration of others, especially for caregivers? Asking can be very hard to do when you're already asking for so much. So can you speak to that?
Yeah, you're right. And I alluded to this at the end. It can be very sensitive. In fact, you know, this talk tonight that I just gave you is a part of a workshop series that we have teamed up with the National MS Society and the Can Do Center. And the series is called Live Fully, Live Well. And there could be a workshop seminar coming in your area. So look on the website to see if that is true. And this is a webinar that has been constructed for the person with MS as well as for the care person, the loved person, the person who's the caregiver or support partner. And so this lecture that I just talked to you about, I tweak it and then I talk just to support partners. So it's really dynamic because we are giving support partners the ability to look at their own lives and to have some recognition of what they're doing and how they can better help themselves and get their priorities in their life too. So going back to your question that it is really difficult, and that's why the series has been developed, because we want to give both sides, both groups, tools. So it is, again, you can use a pie diagram that starts some good conversation. Or you could have dialogue and saying, you know, I know we're asking a lot. I want to make some changes. I want to see if I can get back doing some activities. Let's work together to see what are some activities you'd be willing to let go of. Giving them the opportunity to talk, to bring up what is important to them, validates them. It shows that you respect them, and it really opens up the door for some great talk. And also, there's some things that we usually, you know, we think we know, but when we talk, we find out a lot about each other. And you may find that there's some simple things that you don't have to ask your support person to do anymore. You didn't realize that they just took it over and they're doing it, but you could delegate it out, or you actually could be doing it yourself. So again, I just strongly suggest start that dialogue and that communication. And it may be easier to put that worksheet in front of that person. But just being also just respectful and aware, you're doing a lot for me. This is what I really need. This is what let's look at, what we can maybe let go and have someone else do. Something like that.
Excellent. Excellent. Another good question just came in. This one says, friends keep asking me to go to parties or to lunch, and I find it overwhelming. I can say no so many times and not hurt their feelings. So how do you deal with that? I know that's not necessarily the prioritizing component, but it is a priority, because that may be something that you're letting go in your life when, again, it's connecting with others. And just going to lunch could be a huge priority for you to get re-engaged with your friends. Yeah. So this is valid. This comes up a lot. So my suggestions are, number one, look at your energy level. Is it easier for you to go out during the midday or the evening? Figure that out and then say, yeah, you're going to make a commitment to a lunch. You're going to get it on the calendar. You're going to do it so many days in advance so you can prepare.
then that lunch is going to be your priority for the day. You know before you go out, whether it's the party or the lunch, you're going to take some time to rest. You know you're not going to be doing heavy activity or those activities that take most of your energy before that, because that is your priority. And you also need to make a suggestion on maybe where to go. Knowing the location, familiarizing yourself in the public space will ease your fears, ease the tension. You know where the bathrooms are. You know the accessibility of the restaurant. You know what you can order safely that will make it easy for you to eat, for instance. So again, if you don't want to do it, that's a different matter, and you don't have to do any of that. But maybe you may say, why don't you come over here for lunch and let's just do takeout. That may be a better first step for you. But I do encourage you to try to go for that, because what you'll find, if you can overcome some of these concerns or fears, that it is actually worth getting maybe fatigued for the rest of the day for, because of the laughs and the connections that you made.
Such great suggestions. And it looks like we have time for maybe one or two more here. So the next one is, how can I manage my stress from MS while prioritizing a stressful everyday life?
Oh, I know. That is so true. Number one, take control of what you can, let go of what you can't. Sit down with a piece of paper, put a column in the middle of that paper, headline on that upper left, what I can control, headline on the upper right, what I can't control. You're going to find that that list of what you can control is bigger than you think. It's going to help you be empowered. It's going to decrease your stress. What you can't control, you need to analyze and take one at a time. Okay, I can't control this. So I want to have a good doctor that I can trust, that I know my questions will be answered when I need them answered. If that means a phone call and talking to the nurse or getting into the doctor, I'm going to let go of some of the symptom stuff with my MS because I trust the doctor is leading me. Or I need to probably get involved in a support group. It may be challenging to find the one that fits you the best, but maybe it's time for that support group. It could be even a MS Online one. But I have questions. It brings anxieties. It brings fears. And thus the stress is huge. Maybe by talking to others, I'll realize I'm not alone. Talking to others gives me more ability to find solutions, comfort, and support. So that's the first step I would suggest. And I also feel if it's true, real big stressors, again, get in some occupational therapy, outpatient occupational therapy being referred by your doctor, and that therapist has the time to work through these lists with you.
Excellent. And one final comment that I thought was really valid too, and this kind of touches on a lot of what you spoke about tonight, and that is that prioritizing my life to include rest breaks is important to me, and I thought that was a great one. So, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
definitely.
What a great presentation. Thank you so much, Ann.
Oh, thank you, Scott, and thank you,
yeah.
everyone, for attending.
Yeah, and again, big thanks to all the participants who joined us for the webinar. We had a great turnout, and we're excited about the upcoming webinars as well. The next webinar is on November 8th at the same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The topic is Invisible Symptoms, and the presenter is Allison Schade, Can-Do MS Programs Consultant. You can register for this and other webinars at www.mscando.org. For those participating live tonight, as soon as this presentation is over, you'll see a survey appear on your computer screen. Please take a moment to complete the survey and help us continue to improve our webinars. We value your feedback and input. Thanks again, and have a great night.